It's Willie D, y'all, back with another episode of information and instructions to help you navigate through this wild, crazy, beautiful world. In the studio, Killa Kyleon.
What's going
What's up,
on,
King?
OG? Hey man, just it's a pleasure to be here, man. With a sitting with a gentleman with so much knowledge, man, and somebody that I got a lot of I admire a lot. So this is a blessing to even be able to be in here and speaking with you.
Appreciate it, man.
For
Appreciate
sure.
it, boy. I've been watching you for a minute, and from the first time I saw you and heard you rap, I was like, he got it, man. He got it. And you've been doing this for a minute on the independent side, right?
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, independently. So uh, when you first started, you started off. Did you start off with Boss Hogg Outlaws?
No, that wasn't who I started off with rapping at first. So my professional side, I got introduced into the music business through two gentlemen actually. My homeboy Big Nuki and Beat On, rest in peace to Beat On, out of Shady Timbers. That's who first actually got me in the studio.
Said Shady Tempers. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
They got me actually in the studio. Then on the professional side, Big Pokey is who introduced me to the world pretty much through the
Yeah.
Screwed Up Click side.
Okay.
And from now, Chris Ward introduced me to Slim Thug, and then we just took off from there.
Yeah. So, how did you make the decision to join a collective of 12 guys, where it was 11 guys plus you?
Yeah.
Made 12. That's a big that's a big collection.
It definitely is, but the way I trained myself to move up the ladder was I grew up around a lot of older gentlemen. So I always felt to move up the ladder and to move the needle, I need to get around a lot of progressive energy. So it was different from being sitting around here around people that didn't really have nothing going on. I only knew to get something going on is you got to get around guys that got something going on. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people didn't know that I rapped at first until Pokey, my Uncle Ron G that's over Dead End Ruckus, include Mike D. I was around the Screwed Up Click a lot, being that I'm come from the North and from Dead End. So my grandmother's house was the hub. That's why I even got around these guys. And even on the North side, even seeing you around and seeing everybody else around. But how I got around the energy was Pokey introduced me and Hawk. They knew. So once we got around Chris Ward, and Chris Ward, Slim was in the process of bridging that gap. This was around the time when the North and the South was doing whatever they had going on.
Yeah, because I'm about to ask you, like, how did the North side react to you linking up with the Screwed Up Click?
So I'm basically more South side than North. My mom was on the North side right off of Weaver, and my dad, grandmother, and everything was in Dead End. So that's pretty much why I got it. I would go to Dead End when I go home, and to go to school,
So you didn't
I go
really
to
see
school.
a difference. You like North side, South side.
I had the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
It was crazy the way 6 degrees of separation worked in my entire career. You know what I mean? Everybody on the North knew I'm on the South. Everybody on the South knew I was on the North. So It was really, I didn't feel no different. I just had the best of both worlds.
Yeah. And you've managed to remain consistent without chasing trends. You know, how were you able to maintain your authenticity, keep that intact when the industry rewards the opposite?
It's just pretty much being yourself. I know can't nobody outdo you but you. You know what I mean? You your own enemy. I got a complex that a lot of people don't know how I write my music and that I internalize it. I look in the mirror when I write a lot of shit. I internalize me as my own competition. I really didn't pay attention to what everybody else did. I wanted to sound like myself. I wanted to invent new rhyme schemes. And that's pretty much how I stayed ahead of the curve. It's almost like me going to the gym in my brain and me seeing what no competition. The only competition was me. That's why I tattooed it on my body when I first started. This competition is none. Uh-huh. So and it's a mic with some gloves. I'm at war with myself.
Yeah.
I don't really see no opposing competition because if I can beat me, I'm not worried about beating nobody else. So I took on to that mindset. If everybody chasing a look-alike, I come from an era which I call the golden era, where I was able to be in that in-between. It's almost like looking at Stranger Things when you're in the upside down. It's like I'm old enough to be from this era, but I'm in the in-between where I'm new to this era as well. And don't nothing get old but clothes, and when clothes get old, they call it vintage. So it's really, Gucci been around how many years?
Right.
Louis Vuitton been around how many years? And it's still prevalent and relevant. So with rap, it's about being in that pocket. I watch so many guys overstand time and outdo time to where it's pretty much you keeping yourself relevant by showing that you not on the same sheet of music everybody else on. So that's pretty much how I stayed. Me mastering my craft, me knowing how to adjust with the times. And that's pretty much all rap really is. It's really no age demographic. Look at Frankie Beverly. Look at the Rolling Stones. If you look at all of the touring that's going on, it's nothing but the older guys. That's because they made music that can stand the test of time. When you make music to stand the test of time, that maintains relevance. You know, I don't really see a lot of young guys touring. I see them, but they're not as relevant as the older guys because of the quality of music that they made. So me being able to see things and seeing you guys come up and me seeing the generation of the 2000s come up, and even till now, I think the internet handicapped a lot of understanding and knowing how to stand the test of time because it made guys lazy to where they don't focus on the craft that much.
That's real talk. Man, I want to get into your craft, like all the way into it, and I want to like go ahead and put you on the spot right now, man, because I know somebody out there who may not be familiar with you was probably saying, you know, who is this guy? Like who is Killa Kyleon, and you know, why is Willie D like really like sitting here with this guy, talking to this guy? Who is this guy named Killa Kyleon? You know, I'm trying to pump it up because I know I want you to be saying to yourself, "Motherfucker, you the fuck," you know.
Yeah.
I want you to let the people hear. Like, I don't think I've ever done this before. I want them to hear you rap. I want them to hear I want you to hear what I've heard. The reason why I want to sit here and talk to you. It wasn't just the rap part because you got a lot to say, but it was the rap. I was introduced to you because of your rapping. Mm-hmm. I want them to hear what you got to say.
And it's pretty simple, man. It's a lyrical exercise. And I'll go with, I don't want to game you and give you no repeat on nothing, but it's pretty much easy. You know, it's just a lyrical exercise. It's just me having a way with words. I hear beats and I have a conversation with the beat. I don't necessarily need a beat to make nothing because it pretty much come from here and I just attach the flow to a beat. It's poetry. But it's just I get floetic instead of poetic. When the beat come on, that's when the fluidry come in. But the poetry come in before it touch the beat. It's pretty much like a song I did called Money. And where I expressed my interest in money where I said, I'm just trying to get a milli like that Philly guy. I don't like broke. Need a reason where that's really why. My first and last should be boarding pass because I'm really fly. I'm starting to get afraid of heights. This kush got me really high. Ghetto boy, I keep D. You know, like that Willie guy? So that 45 in my coat, like the Billy guy. You know what I'm saying? It's me having a conversation. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's just pretty much what it is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just when I hear beats, I have a conversation. And when I say fake's the new real, that ain't really how it's supposed to go. Y'all boys faking the mannequins in the clothing store. Rolling drum camera shy. But this jury posing though, shitting on these haters so much, I think my colon's slow.
That's good stuff, man.
You know what I'm saying? It's just, you got fluidry and you got poetry.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I focus on the poetic side without the beat, and then I focused on the fluidry, which is the flow, your cadence. What I always felt like, I wanted to sound different. It's like a dress code. I might have a suit on here. I might have on street clothes right here. And I want to be able to dress different on every beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what it was. I never really wanted to sound the same on every song because that mean you one-dimensional with a flow. You know, every rapper had their own style. You know what I mean? And you know that style by when you hear that flow. So what I always like to do, I like to create cadences. So I can dress different every time I get on the beat to where that make me more multi-dimensional instead of being one-dimensional with the flow. Cause I can slow it down, I can speed it up. It's just like I said on my song, It's the Weather for Me. It's like water my neck cause my peace flower said, brilliant cause stones, I don't like them, but get it. You know what I'm saying? I start going a little bit faster on more shit than I do on some shit cause the beat really give me the identity. I don't really just identify by the beat because I always used to write so much raps. Everybody that knew me, they knew me as the kid that's gonna come in with a backpack full of raps. You know what I mean? Because when you cut on a beat and being around what you saying, being around 12 guys, when they cut a beat on, I already got something for the beat. No matter what the beat was, when they cut it on, I'm in the booth immediately. So it was never a problem with me being around 12 because I'm gonna make sure I'm the more notable person in the room because being around 12 people, you might not make it on the song.
Man, how? And that's a good point. How frustrating is it for you to be as dope as you are, one of the top MCs in the game, in my opinion, and in many other people's opinions, especially in Houston? We know you for real out here. We respect you. We love you out here. But going further too far outside of the South, you know, people may not really know who you are. How frustrating is that to have to, you know, to walk in your shoes and deal with that, knowing that you're one of the top guys in the game, but you know you're not, you know, the recognition is not there.
I mean, a lot of guys get into this business and it's a ceiling for them. I always want to get recognized. It's almost like if I'm a warrior amongst warriors, and it's being a samurai is the baddest son of a bitch you can almost be.
Yeah.
I'd rather get recognized by the samurais than the civilians. You know what I'm saying? So what I always did, I got into this game, and it's a story that's prevalent that I can tell that if you don't know me, I could damn near write a book on my story of getting into my career because it's almost like a movie the way this shit went for me. A lot of people don't know you from around Lockwood and Weaver. They don't know that. My mama is between Lockwood and Hirsch on Weaver. You know what I'm saying? I was around it. I was around the street militaries. I was around the ghetto boys. I'm a Southside nigga. All my people was around Face. You know what I'm saying? My great grandmother, my mama Tia, Dewey's shop is a block over. She on Lowndes and Farmer. So my family from the ward too. The ward by way of Pleasantville on my dad's side. So when I first got introduced into rap, one of my best friends was one of the Fifth Ward juveniles, Slim, Frank Nitty.
Yeah.
So when I first was rapping, he heard me rap. And the crazy part, Michael Weiss used to come do dances and shit at Barber Jordan. I went to Barber Jordan. And all I knew how to do was make rhyme schemes and patterns in my brain. I never really knew how to write it until Nitty taught me how to write. And once he taught me how to write, one of my favorite rappers at the time was E-Rock from the Fifth Ward Boys. Mm-hmm. And he like, bro, you know, I'm in this group and we signed a rap a lot. He say, you feel like you can rap? I'm gonna put your ass on the spot. If this what you really want to do, I'm finna give you your opportunity. I mastered knowing how to write a 16 immediately. We was in class every day. And he immediately took me to Dewey's shop. So you probably don't even remember this. When I went in to do a shop, Shouter was in there, Chief, Rock, and Dewey was in there. I want to say you was in there, I'm not sure, but I know for sure Jay was in there, Chief was in there, Dewey in there, E-Rock in there. And he say, shit, if you can rap, go on in here and rap. And I'm in that room, and at this time, I wasn't never scared of an audience. But in this first time, you took me from the floor to the ceiling immediately.
Yeah.
I get in there, I go out for about 2-3 minutes, and I just froze up. I couldn't remember nothing. And it's almost like I gotta summon my inner self when I get in front of people. Almost like how you put me on the spot with rapping, like damn, that quick. Yeah. And normally I'm off. I go smooth off. And I can always do that. But I learned from that moment, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. So when I got in there, I went for the gusto and I froze up. And I took that moment when I froze up and say, I probably never get this opportunity again. So I'm gonna make sure I'm prepared for that opportunity whenever that opportunity presents itself. So from that day forward, me learning my craft to perfect my craft and me being in a room with giants, I wanna be felt and recognized as a giant within a room of giants, because one of my partners took me from the floor to the ceiling immediately. And ever since that situation, I put myself in a situation, I put in my brain, I'm going to stay ready so I don't got to get ready.
Right. That's what I was thinking the whole time you were saying.
I got to stay ready because back then, studio time, that shit was $150 and $200 an hour. I had to be prepared when I went in the studio and looking at how Pac, because Pac was one of my favorite rappers. Y'all was my favorite rappers. I wanted to be able to get in there and make the most out of a moment, because I might don't get that opportunity again. And me hustling up my bread to go pay for studio time and having access, man, I got to make me 5 songs or better. I even practice that to this day still. My entire career, I got to make 5 songs a day.
You got an opportunity to make the most out of a moment right now with that podcast you have with Kendrick Perkins.
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
Man, that's actually one of my guys. Again, like I say, God's so good, man, to where I get opportunities based off me having the correct energy and being intelligent as well, because I feel like I say, I always wanted to be well-versed in everything. Me being able to have a conversation, me being able to have the knowledge of being around knowledgeable people, I always made sure that my energy was correct and I was intelligent on different things. And that's the thing about being in the position as an artist. A lot of people coming up, when I came up, they were so focused on, shit, I ain't no rapper, I'm a hustler. Well, I'm a street nigga, I ain't no rapper, I'm this here. I wanted to perfect being what it is I am. And I tell a lot of guys, rap is no different than acting almost. It's pretty much one and the same, depending on the caliber of person that you are rapping. We hustlers and we street guys that just happen to have a hobby that we took serious and we mastered the craft. But it's a lot different now. So honoring my craft and understanding and knowing my craft and knowing I had the intelligence, Perk gave me that opportunity. Like, bro, you really can speak. And I've been getting introduced into the podcast and the media realm for a long time because I'm a speaker. And so he gave me that opportunity. And that was the only way I really wanted to do it. I didn't just want to do it as a hobby or just being a Negro just talking too much. I wanted to be in a setting where it really counted.
See, y'all make a great combination because both of you guys are strongly opinionated, and y'all say some of the craziest shit. I ain't gonna say crazy, but wildest things. Because of the opinions that you have.
Yeah.
Both of you guys are straightforward. You're straight shooters.
Yeah.
And so, being able to bounce off each other the way that y'all do, that's that's money, dog.
I'm a facts over feelings kind of guy. I believe I'm a man first. So I was always taught by my elders, if you don't got nothing good to say, don't say shit. And if you gonna talk and you gonna speak on topics, know the facts. You know what I'm saying? Before you really speak. And I know it's opinion based in media a lot, so I like to present a fact. And to me, opinion got so much emotion in it that's damn near feminine to a degree with me, because I don't really speak off of an emotion. You know what I mean? When I talk, I like a little bit of law to be laid down. Like, I want to know what I'm talking about. And to be in that arena, to be able to facilitate information, you got to damn near know what you're talking about, or you'll just be somebody in front of a camera just talking for nothing, saying a bunch of nothing, and it's going to be overly opinionated. And to me, when a lot of people have a strong opinion, it's too much emotion. You emotionally attached to something. And being in a sports arena where you talk sports and it's more versed on different topics, I got a saying that I always, the truth sound like hate to people that hate hearing the truth. And a lot of the things that I'm going to say is more based off of truth than opinion, because I'm not emotionally attached to now man.
Well, the cool thing about doing what you do in the sports arena is that you can go strictly on facts with your conversation, because sports is an arena of numbers. Mm-hmm. So all you got to do is just look at the numbers.
It's looking at the numbers and understanding the game. And to me, sports ain't no different from life. You play the game correctly offensively, you win. You play it defensively, you win championships. Life the same way. If you playing the game fair, you playing the game correctly, and you playing it by the rules, but also adding skill to the game, you gonna master that game. That's how I master rap. Like, I don't have to do too much talking, because my vernacular alone gonna show you where I stand in the game. I approached the game only wanting to be recognized by the leaders of the game. I didn't give a damn about a fan, because I knew I was going to make fans because of all of the fans.
Feel, man.
No. Hear me out what I'm saying. I love my fans, but I'm finna make a point on what I'm saying. I'm not dissing the fan. This how I'm saying
but
that.
You know this internet gonna take that clip.
Yeah,
and
but listen,
I'm
explaining it.
About the fans.
I ain't never said I ain't give a damn about the fans in that sense. When I say something, I got a point for why I'm saying it.
Now, I know what you mean.
I didn't give a damn about making certain fans at a point, because my whole focus was, once the greatest people that do it hear what I got to say, hear my skill set, they fans gonna attach to me. Long as they get to saying I'm one of the best, I don't give a damn about nobody else's opinion, because I only sought out to be recognized amongst the greats. And I've damn near accomplished that. And I can sleep good at night when I hear Bun say I'm one of the best. When I hear you say I'm one of the best. When I hear Face say I'm one of the best. When I hear Jada say I'm one of the best. When I hear Fab say I'm one of the best. When I hear guys that are lyrical geniuses say I'm one of those ones, from the Killer Mikes to the David Banners. Everybody that I looked up to in this game and wanted to get their attention, no matter how long it took, I kept working until I got their attention. When they speak my name in rooms I'm not even in. So when I rap, hearing a fan that don't actively play the game say I'm good, if these guys say I'm good first, everybody else gonna follow suit, because they like the greats.
Well, but also the greats have a higher standard than the fans, because the greats are thinking like, well, we up here with this thing, and we hear things that the fans don't hear in the music, in the lyrics, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times the fans are just looking for the groove, and they want to hear the beat, they want to hear something slick, and boom, something catchy, that's it. We're looking at the overall cadence, the delivery. We're listening for, the substance. So there's certain things that you're looking for, listening for the energy, the authenticity, all of those things count. And so, we're listening for those type of things, whereas a fan, not all fans, because some fans are really, really astute. Some of these fans are intense. They're like, no, man, but they can break it down for you better than some artists can.
And that's the beauty of it. Like, that's why my flow and why I took so much pride into not just what I'm saying, but how I'm saying it. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be having a conversation with you and having a conversation with the beat. Because I seen this guy do it. And growing up, I was real big on watching what the greats went by. Y'all didn't want to sound or look like nobody.
Right.
It's different now. Everybody want to sound and look at somebody else's blueprint to build a house, but they don't have enough architectural sense to even want to build their own type of house. And it's just me taking from what I've learned and seen and create my own way to stand amongst the Mount Rushmores. That's what I wanted to do first because I knew the fans were going to follow. And that's the difference now in the internet world and the world of coming from the golden age and seeing how the golden age went about creating music. Now we're in the internet to where everybody got an opinion and you get to hear, but they taking it more personal. It's not about the craft anymore. And so if you focus on the craft first and keep all that shit separate, they gonna enjoy the music. I'm big on the music first. All of the shit that come along with the music, you can have that shit. And I always
make my editing a nightmare, bro.
Huh?
You're gonna make my editing a nightmare with the cussing.
Yeah, I apologize. Yeah.
But so when you talked about, I heard you mention Killer Mike, and I was thinking about Mike because, Mike has the word killer in his name, right? Mm-hmm. For his craft, and I know that anytime Mike would get in any type of jam, I would invariably hear people say things like, well, you got Killa for his name, what you expect? Have you ever had any regrets by using Killa as your stage name?
Yeah and no. So as I grew older in hip hop, and as you grow older, growth come in. My name Killa actually came from Slim. When I was always Kyleon, which my name is Kyle, and it comes from Michael Corleone and The Godfather, which I got from Mike D, which I got from Poke, and which I got from Run G from Screwed Up Click. Me being around them and being Kyle, and Southside lingo way different. You know what I mean? To where they be, Kyleon, you know what I'm saying? They end up calling me Kyleon. You know what I'm saying? Like Michael Corleone. And so every time I got around Slim, in every song, if I didn't kill the beat, I killed something. So that's where the Killa came from. And it's almost like looking at Cameron, and I take a lot from Cameron because Cameron's name was Killa Kyleon. So as I got older, everybody knew my Killa, which I knew my Killer Mike. Killa came from pretty much all the killers come from the same thing where we killing the beat and we killing the flow. So as I got older and getting into the world to where when I get around Perk and now that I'm in the media, I want to remove the Killa and just be Kyleon because removing the Killa, your name grow a little bit more wings. And it's just growth and development. But my Killa wasn't actually from killing nobody. It's from me killing the beat.
Yeah. Well, I got it, but I just know how them feds and how
100%
and how them prosecutors gonna look at it.
And that's a whole nother thing too.
Anything. Killa, huh?
Yeah, and that's what we was talking about off camera, like how the game changed into where everybody's self-snitching. I look at rap and I always looked at it like this. Yeah, you a real human being and you a real guy, but at the same sense, rapping, you in character. I can't be in character all day. You know what I'm saying? I'm a father as well as an artist. This is my craft. No more than Denzel, when Denzel done played a cop, a teacher, a great debater, and he done played the equalizer. Once the camera off, he not Lonzo no more. But a lot of guys never had an identity until they became rappers. So they want to be identified as the rapper and the conversation he having. We authors at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We authors at the end of the day. Whether we telling the story, because back in the day, rap had different dimensions. And you had different types of rap. You had your street rap. You had your party rap. You had your documentaries. It's almost like looking at films. You got horror. You got action. You got drama. And all of that. And I think a lot of people so caught up in the character that once they became popular being in character, it's almost you got to live through it. You know what I mean? And they get caught in character so much, they don't know when to cut the character off. So you find yourself subjective to everything that's going on. And when you rapping about it, now the fans want you to live it because they taking everything you saying so personal. And it's almost like they brainwashing into believing everything that you damn near saying and not understanding it. Bro, you really telling a story. You're an author. And these just the pages in your book that you rapping. Now, what type of book you rapping and you want them to believe, it's almost like a kid finding out his dad is Santa Claus. And it ruined it for him. But until you teach them that, hey, you got to understand, this a business and it's entertainment, but depending on what message you delivering to your fans, that's when they going to pick and choose what type of guy you are. And I learned that I know how to give you that medium within rap. I don't have to give you that I'm this, that, or the third. You know what I mean? I know that medium. And I know that whatever you say can and will be used against you, no matter what trouble you get in. You know what I mean? So it's different with me. I look at it different than everybody else. Some people look at it like, you got to really live that, and you really got to say this. When do you grow, though? When is the growth? Because if you 15 rapping, and you been rapping 30 years, and you 40 now, you the same person you was at 15, at 40, you make all these millions, you still in the streets hustling? People got to be able to detach reality from the actual fiction and non-fiction of music. And that's the problem we had now.
You know, some people have an issue with that because they have an issue with growth. Some people don't. That's why a lot of youngsters disrespect their elders, because they just don't see themselves being old. They don't see themselves having gray hair or being the wise man on the porch. A lot of them, they're reckless because they just don't respect aging. They don't respect the aging process. And in my mind, if I'm one of the youngsters, I'm thinking it's incumbent upon me to respect the elders, because one of these days, if I'm lucky enough, I'm going to get there. And if I get there, then I want to have the youngsters respecting me also. But they don't even understand that. Many of them don't. Some of them do. Many don't even understand that they are creating their future today. The future that they're going to live in, they're creating it right now. And they don't even understand that if they plan on getting to be old. And I've never seen a generation of people that's so disrespectful to their elders. And even to the point where you old. When I was younger, man, I never heard that type of rhetoric. Like, he old, old man, hey, you old, she old. Like, I never even heard all that type of talk. Like being old is the goal. Like, getting old is the goal.
I can tell you the problem though in that.
Tell me, man.
I can give you two.
Educate me.
I can break it down, and it's not gonna even be long-winded. We come from a generation where we were raised by our elders. When our elders knew getting old came with wisdom. See, it's not being knowledge and wisdom, two different type of things if you break it down. I blame Disney for a lot of what's going on, and I blame that now in your 40s, Now you the grandmas and the grandfathers and you the elders now at that age. I blame Disney because it created a Cinderella complex and it created the Peter Pan complex. And the Peter Pan complex is they don't never want to get old. They the Lost Boys. The Lost Boys want to go to Never Never Land because they can be stuck in Never Never Land where you don't never get old and you get to think like an adolescent mind state to where you get to operate in that mind state of a lost boy where you never, because if you remember in Peter Pan, it was we don't want to grow old. They looked at the older people. And when you look at the younger people now, a lot of them, from the late 70s to the early 80s, we had the cocaine crack era. And by design, our people were led down a different path to where in the 60s, we had the family dynamic. White folks never had that dynamic. We had a family dynamic. We are actually taught white folks what marriage and family really meant then. Their family and their marriage rate was on a decline. Ours at a high. So by design, they needed to switch that up. You know what I mean? To where when you got in the 70s and 80s, we need to dissociate and break down the black household to where you got kids and they're getting raised by their mothers, their fathers wasn't around. So now you got a generation of kids with no mother and no fathers. Everybody got a daddy issue. Now this when cable come in to where you getting taught by the television now. And so everything they in mind control with the television. So now you got Disney coming in and they manipulating the youth at an early age where you don't want to grow old. And you got the Cinderella complex where a woman feel like she beautiful and the king need to come from their castle and come down to the village and get a peasant just because she beautiful and bring her to royalty. So you see a lot of that now. Now you see the young boys, they got a Peter Pan complex. When they go to looking at their elders, they looking like, oh, you an old man. You old. You can't tell us nothing. You old. Not understanding that we've seen a lot more and more knowledgeable. They think they gonna look at somebody diamond up, driving and riding clean with more money. They gonna feel like that's the standard, not even knowing how they got it. Then you see the girls with the Cinderella complex, with this sense of entitlement, how they look pretty, how a princess, no matter where she come from, not understanding royalty don't even work like that. You know what I mean? Royalty, you only become a part of royalty by marrying into a royal family. No kings or queens never went into the village to rock with a peasant. Never. So now you feeling like all I gotta be is cute to get me a man with some money, and he better have some money, and I don't have to have nothing. That's when entitlement came in. So don't nobody want to get old because they think old not cool. And really, you outlived all the dummies because y'all done looked at TV, y'all done looked at these movies, and y'all thinking that this the standard. Not knowing the standard is to be able to live, but being consistent in what you doing in order to live at that level. I've been able to do what I've been doing for 26 years, flying under the radar, nobody not knowing how old I am, what I do, know me personally. The only way you're gonna know me is to know somebody around me personally. I don't need to be in social media and have that attached to my personal life because I'm gonna tell you what I'm a victim of as well. If I knew a lot of my heroes outside of rap, I wouldn't like nobody. You know what I mean? Once I started learning a lot of my heroes was pedophiles, a lot of my heroes was suckers, a lot of them was rats, because I live off morals and principles too. You know what I mean? Because I always recognize that my kids eventually gonna see all of this. And I want my children to be able to decipher reality from fiction.
Yeah. Are you following that case of Ashley Janae?
Ashley Janae.
Yeah.
You talking about the black girl that ended up going out of town?
She went to
Africa. Yeah, I've been seeing Ashley Janae as an influencer for a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been seeing her as an influencer for a few years.
And what were your thoughts on her?
It was just the typical Cinderella story. You know what I mean? And I don't know too much of it, but I know from what I've seen recently. Once I seen it, and it was brought to my attention that she was they said the autopsy said she was choked to death. She wasn't hung.
Well, okay, so I'm getting mixed reports because I heard that the local officials said that it was a suicide.
Yeah, but they said the autopsy report that she was choked.
Oh, so the autopsy report came back? That was quick?
That's what I seen.
Yeah.
How true that is from what I've seen.
Did you see the autopsy
I seen an article on that, but I didn't see the autopsy report.
Yeah. So what's do you think dude did it?
100%.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, but I don't know all of the facts.
I from the facts that I know. First of all, before I heard about the facts, I just was like, he had to do it, because if you think about it, you go out to another country, you get a safari proposal, dude drops to his knees in the middle of the damn jungle and propose to you while, what was that animal? I think it was a tiger or something.
It was lions. They was walking with the lions.
It was walking with the lions. Okay, so lion is running in front of you. It's your birthday.
Yeah.
You're celebrating your 31st birthday. You get proposed to the man of your dreams, the white man of your dreams.
Yeah.
Because she hated black men. Did you know that?
I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, that was a post that she had put up, just talking about black men like dogs, like and encouraging black women to get them a white man. But aside from that, she's way out in another country. She's being proposed to by the man of her dreams. They're filming it. They put it out on social media for the world to see.
Yeah.
And then she ends up dead. Now, this is before I found out that was an argument.
Yeah.
I was like, she ended up dead. She not just dead, but by hanging.
Yeah, they say strangulation.
You find your fiance, your brand new fiance, your newly minted fiance, dead, hanging. Well, actually, he didn't find her dead. She was unresponsive. Allegedly, she was unresponsive, and they took her to the hospital where she died. But then it comes out that there was an argument before.
Witnesses saying this argument.
There was an argument. Hotel staff said there was an argument, and it was so bad that they had to separate them and put them in different rooms.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And then she ends up dead. But wait, there's more. The mother came out and said she's had limited contact with him since her daughter was found dead. And furthermore, they had to start a GoFundMe. Now, why would they need a GoFundMe when this rich man who just proposed to their daughter was, so loaded? Like, this dude loved her so much and everything, and she ends up dead. Why would they have to do a GoFundMe?
That go back to what I was just saying.
The rich fiance can't cover that
at all. But that's
not volunteering to cover that.
That's a whole different rabbit hole within itself that we can sit up and talk about, because that's manipulation. Their whole scheme has been manipulation from day one, and I don't knock nothing about. I'm not. People like to say racism don't exist, and you racist if you say one thing. That's why I say I'm a facts over fitness. All I've ever known was they desired black women as a sexual tool. I've never seen nothing no different. And for her to speak like that, and now you see it as you get more information, it's Cinderella complex. Rich white man come down from the castle, come down to the ghetto, get them the pretty black girl, show her a life she ain't never seen. She done did that on repeat. It's crazy how I tell women a lot of the times, and this ain't stirring away from what we saying, but it goes along with what I'm saying. They both intertwine. You can get on the internet, you can be a handsome black man, physically intact, have a bankroll, have your life all the way together. You can put on a $5 t-shirt and won't get a $2 female. A woman can get on that same World Wide Web, take a picture in a $5 dress, the president, the prince, a sultan, a CEO, a goddamn Rothschild, or anybody can get her just off that picture, and he say he want to change her life. That's all she got to do. And on repetition, younger females been seeing that, and they not seeing that if you look at the analytics of our OnlyFans, the analytics of the internet, because it show you your analytics on your reach, and you go back and you do a statistically shown fact of these black girls, and when they post these pictures to get that attention, it's mostly white men with a whole bunch of bread. But they looking at you damn near like an object. And you really get to seeing that it's all that world so capped to the point now that we see that it's all capped. Look at this situation. Everybody thought it was what it was. That shit was smoke and mirrors. Now you see that it was what it was. Well, she wasn't nothing but just something to play with. And mama don't really know too much about this guy. Because in our demographic, in our culture, you meet mama. You gonna meet mama. You gonna meet relatives.
And if you haven't met mama, if baby girl die under your stewardship, if she's with you, and I say
you're responsible.
And I say stewardship because a man is responsible for the protection of his woman.
1,000%.
So I say under your stewardship, and she dies, it's incumbent upon you to pick that damn phone up and call and work it out. Fly straight to mama, family, hug them, reassure them that you're there for them. Whatever you need, I'm here. I've been talking to this investigator, that investigator.
Definitely.
I'm talking, who you're sharing information. Like, we just got off the phone with all types of, we're waiting on this. You're communicating. The woman says she's had limited contact with
But they let you know that all that was strictly for the internet.
Yeah. And
that was for influence.
And see, a lot of that goes on the internet. We see this all day, every day.
100%.
Where people are watching people's lives on the internet, and they're, hashtagging relationship goals and all that stupid shit, right? Now, they don't understand that people are showing their highlights, not their lowlights.
100%.
To show your highlights. So you got to think to yourself, what are you showing on the internet when you post? You're showing your highlights.
You gotta understand that that's all it is. You watching SportsCenter. You watching ESPN. When you look at the internet, you only get a picture and you post moments. That's why everything is momentarily what you looking at. It's a moment in time. Mm-hmm. You're not really seeing, and that's the problem with why it's such a detachment, because everybody's so focused on the perception of everything, they not even understanding perception is pure deception. You being deceived the whole time and don't know you being deceived, but it look good to you. Yeah. It look good. You getting finessed because they doing that for views. Them people might not have been a couple at all or know nothing. That could have been a whole act. We running up some paper to monetize because you monetize based off views. It's no telling what that was. You know what I mean? But that's the problem within our community because we not even focused on the things that really made us stronger now. We getting deceived to become even more weaker. Look at the voting process now. Or well, look at within politics right now. And we only 12 to 14% of the vote. Our vote don't even matter no more. Which it did, but it didn't for so long. Until whereas now they've changed the whole vocabulary of where we stand in as a vote to even be a voice. Look at how many billionaires it is in the world. 3,200. Only 26 black. That ain't even 1%, Will. That's not even 1%. And everything based off finances and money right now to even have a voice within these rooms. We so busy focused on entertainment, we don't even hold no positions in high ranking authority to even have a voice. And it's like they've muted our voice. If you look in music, everything that's going on in music, no more moguls. It's so much stuff going on to where there are no more moguls within entertainment no more that's black moguls.
You know, the thing is that we actually got the money to change that, right?
100%.
But what happens is that a lot of us who got that type of money that can make that type of power move, we've resigned to just, living the life that we live and being comfortable in that life, like, and getting that money, however we've been getting that money, continue to get that money that way, and, because everything else is just too much of a hassle to us. And I just believe that because we are so far behind, it's all hands on deck. And so even if you are getting comfortable money, you gotta create jobs. You gotta put your people in a position where they don't have to go begging this person over here or end up in a position where, they can't climb in a certain job position. If we take that money and build industries, then we don't have to worry so much about being let go, being looked over, listening to people in management use derogatory words, against us. We have to make more sacrifices.
But I think it starts when you have a person in position. It's almost like legacies. When you look at white folks in position, they already have a generation of children come behind in them prepared to take over and keep the ball moving. In our community, we not training and raising kids to do that. We don't even have those conversations. When we look at the ghetto then, far as the ghetto now, the only black business in the ghetto is churches. Me coming from the Trinity Garden area, I did my own little theses on what thrive in our community. When you look at the Asian community, the Asians have their own infrastructure in their community, as we once did in our communities, to where they're training to be able to take on, to continue their structure. We not training to continue these structures. We so into religion that in Trinity Garden, within a 2-mile radius, is 47 churches. 47. Functioning and not functioning. And everybody know church is one of the most thriving businesses because it's also a government business as well, because they're on a curriculum, which is a faith-based institution. So when you look at that and you look at black folks being taught that same thing, and that's we don't own any gas stations. We don't have any grocery stores. We have no infrastructure anymore because the infrastructure been so weakened within our community that the focus not even now no more to create infrastructure. When the elders came about and they had infrastructure, the youth, they in their families, somebody who's gonna be the next to come after Pawpaw. And after Pawpaw, who gonna be the next to come after you? It's no lineage. Nowhere.
If you allow your enemy to finance your future, you won't have a future.
For sure.
And so this is why a lot of these churches do not build anything. They're in the communities and all they do is take.
They don't give.
They don't give. They don't build because, remember, these are religious organizations that are tax free.
Yeah, and they're given a curriculum.
They don't have to pay.
They're given a curriculum in order to be tax free. You have to be given a curriculum
right.
in order
and
to.
So the point is, if they know you are helping the community, you're gonna have some issues.
For sure. That's a whole different other rabbit hole.
You're gonna have some issues, and that's something that people don't talk about. Like some people are under the impression that if somebody gives you money, they care about you or they love you.
Nah.
The government spends billions of dollars a year on black people in terms of just giving them money for the SNAP program, right? And we know how they feel about us. A pimp will put a woman, a pimp will take a woman and dress her up with a nice hair, get her hair fixed, nice lashes, get her makeup done, nice shoes.
Fatten a frog to feed a snake.
Yeah, nice shoes, dress, everything. Make her smell good, the best perfume ever.
Yeah.
And then put her out there on that track to sell her body. So just because somebody gives you money does not mean that they care about you.
100%.
And I see that a lot also even with celebrities. Some celebrities will donate some money but they're very critical of the black community at the same time.
For sure.
And so, and they get off a lot of times because people go like, well, he donated such. How much you gave?
Yeah, but we're a footstool to all that now. It's changed to where they had to minimize our influence on things simply to maximize and profit. We are nothing more than a profit shop to them people now because we spend more money we spend trillions of dollars economically. And the only way to outwit the masters are the people in position. I ain't gonna even say the masters, the people in position. You gotta economically bring them to their knees. And that's something we'll never do because we've been brainwashed into, you ever heard the saying where I ain't never spending no money with a nigga. You hear black folks say all the time. And that's been manipulated and by design in our head to not spend money with each other, to have that cycle of money being spent with each other. They hold us to a standard to where we ran out of the hood because we wanted to live in the suburbs in the nice homes, not understanding they had 50 and 60-year plans to come and take them same rural areas. They are value. Every ghetto within the city now is worth 1,000 times more than any suburban area. When you go look at the real estate in 5th Ward, 3rd Ward, Cashmere Garden, Sunnyside, those are the most lucrative areas in real estate right now. And you have the elders now are 45 years old to pretty much 50 years old. And the cold part about it is this. They wasn't educated on how to keep grandma house because they didn't know grandma house had that much value. They've devalued the hood just to make it valuable, and we not having the lineage to even know the worth of all that. Now, if we'd have known what we known then, I'd have built a $1 million house right on the middle of Weaver. And in the process of doing that, because why I gotta go out there that has no value and the commute take too long, but that's us not having the knowledge. Because a lot of our grandmothers and grandfathers, some of us, all they were trying to do was survive.
But here's the tricky part about that. So, okay, so the way that they are able to
gentrify the mirrors
to get away with gentrifying is they neglect these areas that you say that you would buy, this land that you would buy, right? They neglect that area. They neglect the land. They neglect the roads. They make it undesirable so that the price go all the way down to nothing, right? Out to near nothing. And then when they get ready to make a move on the land, they start jacking up.
They add value to it.
What they do is they start jacking up the price, jacking up the taxes on it, right? This is how they drive out landowners and homeowners. They start jacking up the price, even though they haven't rebuilt the schools yet. I mean, they haven't rebuilt the roads yet. They haven't tore down that old abandoned building and house. They haven't done anything. But they start jacking up the taxes. And once they start jacking up the taxes, the homeowners start moving around. Because now you're saying to yourself, well, shit, if I'm spending this amount of money, I may as well be living in this neighborhood.
Watch this.
I may as well be living over here. So they jack up the price, run out the landowners and the landlords, and then they go in and get all of the land that the city owned and the land that's for sale. They buy it up, and then they divvy it up between a few developers and some of the people who help call the shots, the city and mayor, people,
I get that.
city councilman, whatever. And then now that they got the land, then they start talking about how they're about to beautify everything, and they start going in. Now they start tearing down the abandoned buildings.
I've watched it all.
And fixing the roads and all this stuff. And now then they start building. They start building up. So it's systematic. It's not as simple as black people not knowing the value of of the land. Let me say, it's not just that simple, because it's systematic. And so if you're not in that room when things are being negotiated or whatever, you could find yourself sitting on that land for
but I'm gonna say this:
100 years and not being able to make that land turn to profit.
100%. But I'm gonna say this: that comes from a lot of that comes from it being systematic. Come from a lot of lack of knowledge. And it comes from a lot of lack of knowledge, and also us being manipulated into these systematic things. When you look at an Asian neighborhood, in order to buy in an Asian neighborhood, you got to deal with an Asian realtor. You got to deal with Asian banks. When you go to a Middle Eastern neighborhood, you're going to deal with Middle Eastern realtors, Middle Eastern title holders, Middle Eastern banks. They have a whole system created within their infrastructure before that area to even exist and thrive as it's been existing and thriving, because of willing knowledge that they've known and knowledge that they've passed. Within our culture, we were too focused on survival to not understand the system, because we didn't have no infrastructure within these communities in order to know. And this, what I'm gonna say about this,
on that, but finish.
It ain't. This the thing. Growing up in the 80s and 90s, a lot of people were doing more renting than owning, and you had owners there as well. But being that you passing that knowledge and creating a system within that community, the systems that we had in place in these communities, if you kept passing that knowledge and you start creating an infrastructure in that community, you wouldn't have never had to be a part of a systematic process by having your own infrastructure. We're the only community that have no infrastructure in anything. Everything that we create is no infrastructure. We have a boss over everything we create. Instead of us taking the money and to create others, we have a crab in a barrel mentality that's created systematically for us to not even look at each other and hold ourselves either accountable or to put ourselves in position in order to have infrastructure by being this. When a black man gets some money, they not thinking about infrastructure. They thinking about, I'm finna go get this money and I'm finna shit on him. And I'm finna get this money to make him look down upon me, instead of, if I get this money, it's like climbing Mount Everest, right? When you see mountain climbers. In order for another mountain climber to even know the GPS of getting up that mountain, somebody got to throw the rope down. Us as a people, systematically, what we did to ourselves, we get to the mountaintop and we pull the rope up. Now you the only one on the mountain, but you ain't even think you got to get back down that mountain when you've left that map to get back down that mountain, because Everest and 2K, the two baddest mountains you're going to ever be able to climb, they somewhat unclimbable. So that's the systematic part about it. You at the top now, but you the only one up top. You die up top that mountain, and you have no direction of getting down. Nobody gonna find you, because they lose a lot of mountain climbers going up these mountains because they're so focused on getting to the top. They not even worried about, what if I get up here and get stuck? How I'm gonna get down that mountain? We climb the mountain and we don't throw the rope down. We too busy doing this. Instead of getting to that mountain, all right, it's time to go back down. And I'm finna tell him how to get to the top of the mountain, and he find a different way, throw the rope down. We keep pulling the rope up so much because by design, systematically, we've been taught to pull the rope up. And that leads to no infrastructure. Look at the way the game was when you came in and the game now. It's almost like playing Monopoly. They've manipulated us into believing streaming actually means something when it means absolutely nothing.
Okay, but before we get too far away from your original point, I want to say that, okay, there's a duality at play here. So you have on one side, you have black people who have the individual mentality, the self. And then you have a systemic situation, whereas the government is at work at all times against black people. See, you can't tell this side of the story of our plight without telling this side. Because
100%.
this side is very, very important because we are the only people in this country who is targeted by our government for failure.
For sure.
In the history of civilization, there has never been a people who was targeted by their own government for failure and were able to reach their optimum. Never in the history. And that is too much to ask of even black people with all of our resilience, with all of our greatness, with everything we've been able to overcome. We still in this bitch. We still here. And we still thriving. And not all black people have that crab in the bucket mentality. Not all black people are getting up to the top of that mountain and throwing the rope away. Not all black people are doing that.
Not all at all.
So what I'm saying is this: when you have, black people on this side constantly fighting and going at it and trying to get it, make it happen, then on this side you have this wicked ass government that is constantly making it hard for black entrepreneurship. They're taking our children, they're taking away the programs out of the schools, the trade programs out of the schools. They're moving the goalposts. Every time we get across and we score, they say, oh, wait a minute, we're gonna move the goalposts. For example, even in politics, you saw the 19 women, the black women who became judges a few years ago. Do you know they systematically changed the rules because of those 19 women?
Can I tell you why? I just want to add one small thing into that. If you got more players on the field than in the coach's box, you ain't gonna never win the game. The problem with the government is they took everybody out of the coach's box and put everybody on the field. They wanted to make us feel like we didn't have enough knowledge and know-how to even sit in these rooms, to even be in there to change something. If we don't have nobody in the CEO's room, we have nobody sitting at those tables in order to bring more people to these tables. They have, like you just said, they've taken us out of government now. You don't have too many people running, and then they didn't manipulate it to where they done made most black people not even believe they can even get in them rooms. But once we get some in them rooms and we start focusing back on getting in the room, we not gonna, if we only focused on getting on the field and not in the coach's box to look down at the field, we ain't gonna never win the game.
What I'm trying to tell you is that there are black people waking up every day getting out, busting their ass to get into those rooms.
For sure.
And they fighting every single day to get in. Everybody is not resigned to just chilling and saying, hey, I got it made over here.
No, I agree.
I don't need to be in these rooms. They are fighting to get in those rooms. In fact, they have been in those rooms and got kicked out of those rooms.
For sure.
Just look at what Pete Hegseth did. What's his position? Secretary of War. Pete Hegseth. He demoted the generals, black generals and admirals, purposely just totally demoted them
For sure.
just because they were black.
For
So
sure.
they were in the room. They fought. They built their careers around military
sure.
service, and he demoted them or forced them to resign.
For sure.
So
to keep us out them rooms.
So what I'm saying is, it is very difficult. If you take away the government running interference, then we catch the ball and we go touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. Because think about it. If you like to use sports analogies, right? If you are running the football, and every time you running the football and you get ready to, you get ready to cross the damn goal post, somebody just come out of nowhere and hit your ass in the head with a bat. Mm-hmm. How often you think you're gonna score? And even if you do score and you finally get across, they say, flag on the play. This is what they do to us, not everybody else. The United States have a anybody but black mentality.
For sure.
Okay, so it's not just about your drive and your skill set, your determination, your resilience. They are purposely running interference all day, every day. Even when you there's a black woman, I believe she's in North Carolina, South Carolina, wealthy black woman. She wanted to build a hotel, right? From what I understand, those hotel permits take about a couple years to get, right? Mm-hmm. To run through. It took that woman 10 years to get her permits because they kept knocking it down because they did not want her to have a hotel.
100%.
So when you put those type of restraints on people, even the most resilient person might, you know what, man, it just ain't worth it.
But that go back to what I was saying, though, too, Will.
They keep messing with me. The same thing when you look at black club owners. A lot of times, we do a lot better than most cities in Houston. We got a lot of black club owners 100%. In Houston. But we used to have a lot of black club promoters until they caught their snap and say, you know what, I'm not finna make them rich no more. I'm finna do this myself. So we got so many black club owners and restaurant owners now, like more than what we ever had. Like there's a renaissance going on right now in Houston. But the way that they do, but they have to watch out. And all of y'all that's watching me right now in Houston specifically, just keep in mind that y'all gonna have to build a coalition. They need to build a coalition.
That go back to what I was saying, infrastructure.
Listen to what I'm saying. They are coming for them. They see what's happening on Alameda. They see all the money being made. They see all the black people who are benefiting. And worst of all, they see happiness and togetherness. They see black people harmonious. They see black people living harmoniously. They're happy. They're making money. We don't need them. We are self-sufficient and independent. At some point, they're going to start harassing the customers. They're going to start trying to make it... They're doing that now. Okay, they're going to start trying to make it harder. They're going to be making it harder to get permits. They're going to come in, and they're going to start trying to write citations and all kind of shit. So they need to be proactive because we've seen this play before. Fifth Ward and Third Ward and Fourth Ward used to be filled with black ownership. Yeah. Everything we owned everything.
For sure.
They like to tell you the story of how once segregation ended, mm-hmm. we started just
which I always thought was the stupidest.
We just started running straight to the white.
That was the trick.
So that's partially true, but keep in mind now that we are competing for dollars, they are now have decided to attack the black owners. So they going in and the police help them do it. The city council all over the country. Yeah. The police help them do it. So we're not just fighting, we're not just fighting a war of drive and skill and talent. Man, we're dealing with the most wicked beast that have ever existed in the history of civilization.
You want to know why? And
we're still not. And I don't want this to be lost.
100%.
We are still What did Maya Angelou say? We still rise.
We still ride, but here's the
Still
deal.
I rise.
Here's the deal about what they willing to do versus what they not really willing to do. Life is a chess game, 100%. You don't have no pawns, no rooks, no bishops, no queen. You don't have enough soldiers willing to sacrifice on the field. You never gonna defeat them in battle. When you was just speaking on segregation, that's the worst thing that could have ever happened to the black community because we had infrastructure then. We had people that we were putting in place. Like I say, this is a real
integration was the worst thing that happened.
100%. When integration came in too. Before that, we didn't need them for nothing. We're the only integrated community in society to where they've came into our infrastructure and they flipped the coin. We're the only group of people that they've done that to. Everybody else have thrived by not allowing that within their community. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier. You can't do that in the Asian community or Middle Eastern, or almost an African community. You can't do that in an Irish community, an Italian community. You can't do nothing about nothing in those communities because the infrastructure. And it go back to what I was saying again.
But it's also the people who are on code. Saying,
no, 100%.
We're not going to support.
But this the thing.
Doing.
They've created that to where they got people in power, in position. We're not focusing our children to be everybody around here trying to be YouTubers, influencers, basketball. Nobody trying to be officials. Nobody trying to be lawyers.
But they are.
Nobody.
Man.
They're doing it.
My daughter's a lawyer.
100%.
You know, like that's.
No, hear me out.
We got so many lawyers, so many judges.
No, hear me out.
Entrepreneurs.
No, 100%.
Not trying to be.
No, but hear me out. I'm saying in this generation, because I deal with it and see it on a daily basis.
I do too.
Statistically, visually, I see it. And what I mean by in our community, what we basically saying, it goes back to what I'm saying now. They done made it to where racism is so deeply rooted into our community. What we looking at now don't have nothing to do with racism because we only 12 to 14% of the population, and financially, it ain't enough of us. So the deal is, if it's classism now, fascism, socialism, classism is what these folks are on right now. It's not even about the color. It's not enough in the room of that color to make a difference. If strength is in numbers. Yeah, we got a few in there, but if we don't have more than a few to make that difference to where financially, I don't give a damn if you green. 3,200 billionaires are white men. 26 out of 3,200 ain't even 0.1%. Your voice, and out of that 20%, none of them is in public positions to be lobbyists, nothing to turn a coat to make a difference, because out of the 26, 14 are entertainers. So their focus is on entertainment to the point to where we need that 26 to at least be 1,500 to where we start making a difference in rooms, because if it's a room with 600 and it ain't nothing but 2 Negroes in there, who really speaking for the Negro? Because them 2 in there turncoats. And they really going on to get along. But we don't have no soldiers to where they got soldiers to where, hey, I'm going to put an Epstein in position to play dirty pool, to shoot dirty pool. I'm finna send you in here to blackmail everything to keep this race of people in our organization clear of these folks, to where we are going to come in there. We got one soldier that's going to sacrifice, or what they used to call in war in the Asians a kamikaze. We got one son of a gun that going to go run into that building with that plane and sacrifice for 1,000. We don't have none of that. We don't have people that's willing to sacrifice in order to get in that room and say, hey, I need you to play this position. We not going to play dirty to get clean. See, they going to play dirty all day to get clean, and still play dirty when you think the morals and principles that we live by, we not going to have nobody that's going to play dirty. We going to have to shit on probably like 20 of y'all to make sure 50,000 to 100,000 gonna surpass and be in these rooms. We need to financially get in these rooms because right now it ain't even about black, white, none of that. That still exists, deeply rooted. We can't say that it don't exist. We know that it exists. But financially positioned, if we financially position, if everybody black say we not spending no money tomorrow, this son of a bitch flip like a coin. It flipped because all of the other things that's going on gonna be obsolete, even within government. They ran by people with more money. That don't mean nothing. Because why you think that if the popular vote mean anything, why the hell they got the electoral college? That's ran by the bag. We just watched a president get put in by the bag, and he's singing a whole different tune based off money now, controlled by a group of people that's white, that's taking down white folks.
Well, you're telling Noah about the ark here.
For sure. That ain't for you.
Yeah.
I know you know, because you are one of the unapologetic biggest speakers in it for what I'm talking about. That's why I'm having a conversation and speaking it with you and getting the wisdom from you as well. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm having it, because you one of the builders of the ark. But this what the youth don't really get to hear, and they don't have the opportunity because they feel like they either have more or think they've accomplished more. That's why when I want to go back to what you were saying on the youth versus getting old, this why I never wanted to sit with nobody my age or younger, because I could never learn nothing. All of the knowledge, I've did everything under the sun, but get caught. That's smarter than me. Then now you get the gold medal for getting caught now. Getting caught mean you know more than the Negro that didn't. I got the ball and chain, I got up out of it, and now I'm in the big house. You still in the field with the ball and chain, and you telling me I ain't realer than you because I made it out of it. And it's like, nah, they done flipped it consciously and subconsciously, and the loser is the winner now.
If they really want to know, all you youngsters out there, if you really want to know who the real gangsters are, just look at the ones who don't go to jail. Just look at the ones who commit crimes and don't go to jail. So if you can commit crimes and not go to jail, that's a real gangster. Like if you go into jail after you commit crimes, you ain't all that you think you are.
You the fool. I mean?
You a new fool.
I told him this here. I say this a lot. The jailhouse full of losers. It's no success story in jail. I see dudes get out in the free world and brag about jail and cool with going. I say it's two things in jail. You gotta have a girlfriend if you got a boyfriend in jail if you that anxious to get back. Mm-hmm. If you think, but that's the loser mentality. You get free food, you don't gotta pay a bill, and you get to sleep all day.
And that's the thing that I think that drives mass shooters also. A lot of them, they have given up on life. They can't hack it. They can't do what millions of people do all over the world every single day, including little children and old people. They get up and they go out and do something, make something of themselves. They go to school or they go to work.
Yeah.
They do something. The mass murder, mass shooters, a lot of these guys, they do what they do not because of a cause. They do it because they've given up on life and they mad at the world. Yeah. So let me go kill a bunch of people and say that's the reason why I did it, because they was black or they was gay or this, whatever. They did it because they gave up. Because why would you, if you loved yourself, why would you put yourself in that type of position? And why would you do your family like that? Why would you curse your family name like that?
For sure.
These are people who are losers. These are people who have given up on life, and they can't hack it. They can't do it. So they ain't as real as they try to act like they are.
No, definitely. That's something that I know 100%, but that's why we talked about earlier. That's why I say rap for me is way different than it is for the new guys now, because glorifying ignorance was never my reason for getting into this. It was for the craft. It wasn't. That's what makes me different from what everybody else going down. I'm big on the craft of music sounding beautiful, of the process that it took to make beautiful music, me seeing classics and understanding what a classic is, and to having these debates. Long as my name in the room, that's what I wanted, my name in the room for what it is I was good at doing. I never need to be the biggest gangster because you knew who the biggest gangster was. You already was gonna know who the biggest gangster was, not off what he done, but he just moved the needle based off of not even having to say much. The biggest gangsters that I know wasn't the shooters. The shooter was the damn fool. The shooter was the one, like I said, he willing to make that sacrifice and move, but it's different now. We glorify the shooter mode than the actual person that don't gotta pull the trigger at all. You just you more focused on the shooter now. You more focused on who gonna crash. If you don't crash, look at everything going on where you see the young brother just went in there and did what he did with Gucci. They saying that Gucci not keeping his street based off he went and told. They respect what Pooh Shiesty did more than they respect the fact that as a civilian, I'm not a street guy no more. I'm not focused on nothing in the streets. I'm conducting business and people are having arguments. He was supposed to crash. I don't respect nothing he did. If he'd have crashed, if he'd have went out there, crashed, and killed, shot, and did exactly what he did, he'd have been glorified for that. It's like we glorifying ignorance and we not focused on the craft. No, it's not about music no more. Nothing is about the music. It's about making a rap and you living what you rapping to where they so ignorant. Yeah, Jeezy rapped about dope, but you honestly think Jeezy still selling dope now, having his name? Like, people don't have, common sense just don't register.
But you got to realize too, Killa, that there's a lot of people that's on the internet who are on medication. See? And if they're not on medication, they need to be on medication.
For sure.
So that's what I had to finally realize. I like, these people don't know. Like, a lot of these dudes, especially the dudes, they talk reckless. A lot of these, they're very disrespectful, right?
For sure, because they've never seen you.
And I know a fact. I know for a fact, and they know too, if they know deep down. I mean, they play up to their audience, but they know for real, like, what I'll do to their asses if I could touch them.
100%.
If I can make contact, they know what'll happen.
Yeah.
But, you know, it amazes me, you know, how emboldened people are on that internet. Like, you have your podcast now, you know, with I mean, you've been on the internet for a while, but you got your podcast now with Kendrick, and have you come across somebody that just was blatantly disrespectful to you?
I get it all the time. I get it all the time, and the thing is, my reaction, and everybody with me, the funny thing about me is everybody know I talk slick. And I'm going to have a rebuttal. But the problem with me is I got a petty problem when they do it. See, you on social media. The whole point about it is being sociable. And I tell a lot of people to keep it comments. They claim they street dudes, but people in the comment section, a lot of it I let make it, and it don't bother me, which it really don't bother me at all, because I'm big on progressive information and the progression of what we doing. I don't really focus on the ignorance. A lot of them people on there that have something to say about what I have to say, no, they not gonna be in the same room with me. I go through it all now. I'm looking at different media guys that's on the internet. When it's like, even when you look at your pod, when people see clips, the hot takes, a lot of people don't have enough intelligence to go see everything that's being said through. They looking at what you talking about in that moment, and they get opinionated. Or they you gonna do this, that, and the that. You gonna say this here. He ain't like this, and but they don't even know you actively still move around in Houston big you gonna run into you somewhere. And it's not gonna even be that same energy. It's just that energy because they don't even think that they gonna see you. Because the whole conversation gonna change. Because I talk to young bro, I've had episodes to where I've talked to guys about the young guys talking about things that occurred in the streets from 20 years ago, and they making it relevant now to talk about those things from 20 years ago, to tell the youth about it now, to make you not like your heroes based off their opinion. And it's like, y'all don't have nothing going on right now to talk about progressive to the youth, to keep the youth. It's like they want to disassociate themselves from history, but they not even create nothing historical.
Is there something that somebody can say online to you that can reach a point of no return?
Yeah, it is. But it's my reaction to it. I'm very strategic in everything I do. You're not gonna trick me out my position or trick me off the streets and have me crash out for nothing. I'm strategic. This the internet. I can find you. Long as you got, I'm a nerd. I can find you. Long as you got an IP address, you're gonna get found.
What's that thing? What's that thing they can say?
I mean, it's just, it's just disrespect. I've never been a crash out in life, period. I've never been to prison. I'm the smart one that did everything and got away with it. And that ain't me trying to brag on that. I always been nice from the shoulders. I always been good at everything else. But I always been the smart one to know I got kids at the end of the day. I got somewhere I'm trying to get. Words never really, a man, words don't do nothing to me as a man. You can say whatever you want to me. Talking ain't a contact sport. Now you got to stand on that on what you said, because me being strategic, I'm going to reach out and touch you without even physically even putting hands on you. I'm not the one you got to worry about, because it's people that love me just as much as I love me that's watching me saying what you saying to me. That's a difference on going to war and going to battle. Long as I'm in a position in life to where I can make that call. Just hope I don't have to make that call. And I'm willing to get on the battlefield myself, but I'm thinking about everything I look to lose and I get to gain out of ignorance. I gain nothing. You being mad at me saying something to me, I'm a man at the end of the day. I don't really have the same emotions as a female, because a lot of them dudes got mommy issues. They grew up in the beauty shop. They grew up in the nail shop. They ain't have a male dynamic around them. They sit up and listen to women gossip all day, to where men have picked up that characteristic of a woman to where they feminine and they want to spar with you like a female. And they want to argue with you like, I'm a man. I'm not doing, talking ain't a contact sport. Long as you don't come within an arm reach space of me and you got a problem with me when you see me, 90% of the time, none of these guys got a problem with me going to dress me in person.
Speaking of females, we were talking about jail a few minutes ago, and I wanted to know if a woman held you down while you were down, right? Money was tight.
Yeah.
You was messed up.
Yeah.
And then you came up, got to the paper.
Yeah.
Are you obligated to stay with her if she changes her behavior for the worse?
You're not obligated to stay with nobody just because. I've learned in the past decade, man, history don't mean a damn thing just because you got history with somebody. That means absolutely nothing, because that's the thing in our community. You feel like just because you went through me, when you was there with me through the storm, when the sunshine, you supposed to be there, and however you feel like acting, I supposed to let you make it based off the fact that it's my turn now. That ain't really nothing that I don't consider that holding me down. You just knew I was possibly gonna come up, and you stayed down and I come up, and now you gonna act the ass. Nah, I'm not obligated to do none of that. I'm obligated to, you held me down, I'm gonna be there with you because you held me down. But if you feel like acting a damn fool because I'm there now, nah, I ain't. You ain't obligated to stay nowhere where it don't make sense. But if you held me down and I get to the point to where I'm up, hell yeah, I got an obligation to look out for you and be there for you. I've lived that and living that. You know, my girl hold me down and my girl holding me down. Yeah. I'ma overflow her when it's my turn to burn. Nah, we ain't gonna bump no heads because that's different when you date young and you date older. When I damn near don't want to even deal with a lot of shit that ain't never been through nothing, but 90% of us have been through something to know where we trying to go. You gotta build with somebody instead of building with them just to destroy. But that's when you got the right type of queen on your team, it's different. You can't have no juster. Because there's a lot of justers that's looking like they queens that go back to the Cinderella complex.
How much do you share online about
My personal life? Very little.
Because I don't think I've ever seen you share any pictures of a woman on social media.
That go back to
that you were dating.
Yeah, but if you know me, you know what I got going on. Yeah. That don't mean my woman can't do whatever she doing. It's just on my platform. The whole name of the game again come back. It all do a full 60, 360 on what I'm saying. It's like chess. The object of the chess game is to protect the queen at all times. She got to be the Teflon done. And just like a good friend, a mutual friend of ours once said, bad news gonna beat you home when you dealing the wrong type of way. It's not gonna beat me home because I'm gonna make sure that before bad news get to my house already in order enough to know what's going on and what's not. So she ain't gotta be affected by nothing that's going on. This world that I live in and what it is I do, it come with a lot of scrutiny. It's gonna come with haters. If I ain't got no haters, I don't got nothing going on. I love when they talk about me. I'm something to talk about. And the moment they get quiet, that's when it's gonna be a problem. Cause when you at that point in your career, everybody talking, you gotta protect the queen, brother. Queen gotta be the Teflon donest at all times. None of this stuff not gonna affect your house if you not putting your house on Front Street. If everybody, I see a lot of dudes show where they stay, show where they live. You bring more smoke on that woman constantly putting her on Front Street and not protecting her, because not everybody that didn't want you, if anytime you got something good, everybody want what you got good. And I'm not insecure by no means. I don't not post my woman but behind me being insecure. It's not that. I post mine to not post mine or my children like that to protect them. Because when I'm not around, when I'm not around and you know who my woman is, that make my woman vulnerable. That make my kids vulnerable. Because if somebody feel a way about me and they can't get to me, what's the first group of people they're gonna try to get to? My woman and my kid.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on Trump?
Personally, I don't like nothing about what Trump do. His antics. Do I understand him as a businessman? Yeah, because I understand white businessmen and people in power.
But he's a horrible businessman.
He horrible all over. He shrewd. He horrible as hell. But whatever he doing work within his realm. Do I feel like things are worse now than they ever been? 100%. Do I understand it? Yeah. I understand a lot of the shit that he do and don't agree with 99.9% of the shit that he do. But I know he controlled, and I know what's controlling it, because if we look back at history and what's been going on in history, who's been running this country for so long outside of the people that we think that's running the country? He all about the dollar. Trump trying to be a Rothschild right now. Trump trying to position his family to be one of the 5 strong, wanted to be in that conversation of the strong families. Trump not really giving a damn about what's going on with the people. He positioning his chips for when he lead the presidency right now. He about self.
Well, he's on the right trajectory because he's Rothschilds was some evil bastards. Like
They still evil. They
yeah,
still run shit.
yeah. So he's on.
He a puppet though. If you look at what's running him and what he's standing for right now, and who he protecting this whole war, they've been trying to fight this war for how long with Iran? Benjamin Netanyahu been trying
About 47 years.
Yeah. And it's been the same thing. Right now, no weapons of mass destruction, nothing. The Strait of Hamas, he over there saying he finna destroy all of that to stop. He did all of that to try to get everybody to come here and buy oil. And he's manipulating everybody with the media because them people control the media to manipulate you into believing that they winning. But it's about money at the end of the day.
Well, they say they got like 30-some empty oil tankers on their way to the United States.
They say a whole lot of shit. How true that is. This my thing about that, right? If we just went over there and invaded Venezuela, and how many millions of barrels of oil we just got from them, and being that we in Texas, one of the biggest oil and gas distributors and all the refineries in the world, what we need the Strait of Hamas for? If we just went and got all those barrels of oil there, it's our business, man. It's about money. What do we even need? Iran ain't no bigger than Louisiana. Money-wise, it's a bag in that Middle East. But at the end of the day, they shutting it down because China getting all that oil.
Well, they can't shut it down because China is going to keep it open. China's already said that you can't stop. There's no international law to prevent China from doing business with Iran.
At all.
China echoed those sentiments. So there is no way possible they are going to be able to stop China. China is going to call their bluff. They're going to have to do something.
Yeah.
Because China is not going to stop.
Which they not finna do a damn thing.
Exactly.
They're not finna do a damn thing.
And we don't want them to do a damn thing because if they do something with China, it's a wrap.
It's a whole wrap.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a wrap, man. Man, I want to hear another rap, though, speaking of rap, man. I want to hear another rap.
You want to hear
another one? Can I get another one?
Oh, yeah, man. You can always hear another one, big homie, if that's what you want to hear. I can definitely bless your game with another one, big homie. Let me get into my mental Rolodex and give you another one, man. Let me give you another one. Let me think. You put me on the spot again on camera. Let me think. So what you was supposed to say?
What's that one that you was saying on that's on the top of that's pinned first on your Instagram?
Is it the snake skin?
You said your mama raised a whole beat. You remember that one?
Man, it's so many in my brain. Yeah. It's so many. Like how my brain.
How many raps do you write a day?
5. I write 5 records a day.
5.
Literally 5 records a day.
Yeah.
Every day. That's what I'm saying. When I get put on the spot now, it's so different. My mind racing. It's almost like an F1 car. How my mind races. But that one you see on my top of my page, that's snakeskin and it's snakeskin and regrets. Yeah, that's snake. What I say on snakeskin? Yeah, fake friends raised a snakeskin. Yep. Your mama raised the whole she ain't make men.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that snakeskin.
Yeah,
man.
That's good stuff right there.
Yeah,
man.
That's a bad boy, but I think my best body of work is what I'm doing now. My project I'm working on now is Turn Pain into Champagne. Mm-hmm. And before that, I think my Lorraine, that's one I want you to really go check out is Lorraine, the Lorraine Hotel, Lorraine Motel. I made that in like 2017.
What you know about the Lorraine Motel, man?
Man, you go check that out. That's one of the baddest pieces of work that I done ever made, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need you to check that out.
Hey,
Check that out for sure.
I'm gonna check it out. Hey, what's the biggest lie that the industry tells young artists?
The biggest lie?
The biggest lie.
Everything that they saying the truth. That they believe that these guys are who they say they are. That's the biggest lie, is they manipulated the game into believing that these people are really the people. Stephen King, I say this a lot. Stephen King made horror films. Never murdered nobody. Martin Scorsese made mafia movies and never been in the mob.
Well, Stephen King write books.
He write books and movies. They make them into films as well. He wrote books and he made films off horror. George Lucas talk about spaceships, aliens. That's a little bit more different demographic because he get that from somewhere. But none of these people believing that a lot of these rappers are really who they. I grew up watching you. If I seen Willie D, I seen bald head hoes Willie D. I'm not a gentleman Willie D. I knew that Willie D. And the wisdom that we get today is, because boy, if you existed in this time right now, you would be damned on every. If the younger you, the younger you of what's going on now, if you was intertwined, you wouldn't. You would be making headlines. You'll be making, because I grew up under a whole different. I grew up under like I tell you, it's like the Constitution, man. I grew up under the old law. It don't feel like the Twilight Zone to you looking at a lot of this what's going on right now. It does.
But you know what's sad though, man, is that what's sad is that the way that all of us are leaving the future to the youth. It's sad. And some of the youth included today, some of the youngsters today are part of that because they are shaping the future right now with their actions, right? And they don't understand that they are creating their future right now. A lot of the youth, they crash out because they're trying to impress each other. Like the adults, the elders, have mostly done as much as they can do for them once they get to be a certain age, then they got to take it from there. And so they're not interested in, at a certain age, most of them are not interested in impressing their parents or any adults. They're interested in impressing their friends. So their friends have more power oftentimes than their own parents have on them, their peers, the people who they want to impress. So it's easier for a peer to pull your coattails and say, we ain't doing that, man. No, we don't do that, man. We finna go over here. We finna go do this here. We finna do it like this. Because your peer oftentimes, your peers is gonna find out when you about to do something stupid, your peers are usually right there with you. And they can actually talk you off the ledge before you do it. But what's happening is a lot of these youngsters are just sitting back watching their friends crash. And, that ain't really a true friend. And look, I watched my friend crash when I was coming up, and I thought that was a friend. That's what we do. I thought because somebody's helping me fight, that means that they cared about me. That was my friend. They loved me. Well, some people just like to fight. Like growing up, I used to like to fight. Like I like fighting. I like the contact.
Yeah, you did boxing too.
Yeah, I used to like it. Like to fight. Now it's like more like I still like to fight, but it's got to be within the law. In other words, I got to be right all the way to the right to fight. You know what I'm saying?
No crashing.
No crash. None of that. So I got to be all the way to the right because what I did is I woke up one day and I started valuing myself.
100%.
See,
that's growth, though, right?
So I'm not you, dude. You know what I'm saying? I'm not you. You don't value yourself. I used to go to places that I knew there was a high probability that there would be a shootout. Somebody might get killed. And I would go anyway because that's where the action was. That's where the fun was. That's where the girls was, right? So that's where I'm going. And when I look back on it, I was like, man, I really didn't value myself like I thought I did. Because now I know where the spots are, and I'm like, oh, they don't like living over there. I ain't going over there. Automatically, I'm finna go over here, and then I typically, you know, at some point you're gonna hear about some fight that happened over there, somebody got killed, this happened, this happened. So I know where the spots are where people don't really like living. Yeah. Some people around here, especially like a lot of these internet cats that be running their mouth on the internet, they're tired of living, fucking with me. You know what I mean? They tired of living. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of these dudes, they need medication. They really do need medication because real do recognize real. And all of the real cats I know, I get along with.
Yeah.
And they get along with me.
For sure.
You see, it's the suckers who always have an issue with real cats.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying?
For sure.
But this internet has emboldened dudes to a level where they think that they're untouchable, and they think that they're going to always be able to hide behind the police. But the police can't walk your kids to school. The police ain't going to be there when your ass in the shower. You know what I'm saying? Thinking, what's that? What was that noise? You know what I'm saying? Police, you know what I'm saying? The judge ain't going to follow you home, and you know, they're not going to sleep outside your door and all that. If you're scared to death, maybe one day or two nights you might be able to get them to park outside. But other than that, you on your own out here, man. So why? I don't understand people that just create unnecessary enemies. Like, why would you go around? It's already too many ways to die.
It's too many microphones. It's too many microphones and cameras.
It's too many ways to get yourself caught up in a jam already.
Yeah.
Why would you go around and just
provoking people to do something?
Exactly. Why would you do that?
Yeah, ignorance.
It's got to be ignorance.
I feel like it's the shock value everybody value so much now. It's like everybody only way to get on is through ignorance and beef now. Nobody has a distinct quality that make you attached to what they doing, that put you in awe. Everybody's so far in their emotions with no talent or nothing. It goes back to what I'm saying. It's so much femininity going on, man. You got a bunch of men that got women emotions and they react like women, and it make me respect the women now more than the men because the women not doing as much talking as the men.
And it's almost disrespectful to reference women when talking about them because the women have more respect for themselves. Women aren't doing all the gossiping. It's the dudes sitting around. Like, women used to sit around and talk about other women all day and men. You know, they talk about women and men. That's women, you know, hey.
That's the woman way.
Yeah, but now you got dudes. They don't even talk about women no more. They talk about dudes. They just sit around all day talking about dudes.
Yeah, and then doing everything to impress another man. That's different. I come up in the era where I did everything to impress a female. I wouldn't give a shit what a nigga thought about me. It was always about what the woman. I do everything to attract a female. It has absolutely nothing to do with a man. I don't even comment. I don't even like when a man comment about something I got on because you don't got no business even looking at me. You down there make me feel like you attracted, and I ain't nothing homosexual about me. So I don't really care to hear nothing come from a man about what this look like. I get in shape for a woman to look at me. I put on clothes for a woman to look at me. I don't give a damn about what a man got to say. Nothing a man got to say about me. That's feminine to me. If 90% of the reason why a man don't like me because a woman do. So I don't give a... I haven't did nothing to a man for a man. Well, he talk about this, he talk about that. If you don't like me, why you watching me? That's almost like looking at something you don't have no business looking at. If you don't like it, why you watching it? You can turn the channel.
And talking about it.
Why? If you don't like it,
Yeah.
that's almost like when you hear people that's homophobic, and I don't really even like that word because phobia mean to be scared of something.
Yeah, the fear, yeah.
But if you watching something that you don't like, you really kind of like what you're looking at because you're looking at it too much, and you too you too knowledgeable about what they got going on because your haters know more about you than your actual fan. Because they watching you to find something to hate on. And look at what's going on now on all these shows, these podcasts and everything, man. You got a bunch of guys that's never been in none of the shit that's going on. You have people that never had any popularity growing up. That's why I feel like bullying need to come back into everything, because bullying built character. Now you got people that don't even like being bullied, or they so sensitive to the fact when you say something about them. Nobody back in the day used to knew how to have. You supposed to knew how to tell jokes back then when we was in school. These kids don't have none of that going on right now.
I don't think bullying ever stopped though, bro.
It intensified to different.
America is the bully capital of the world, and it starts from the top and it trickles all the way down.
We watching a bully right now, but yeah. I mean, like, far as in the community, to where now everybody crying about everything, and it's no solutions to nothing. When I mean like the bullying, when you see somebody and you say something, if somebody say something you don't like, it turned into something totally different. It becomes argumentative, and men is debating like females right now.
True story. Men
debate like females. Men not even talking about.
I don't even think they're debating. I think they're arguing, man. They're just arguing.
Yeah, debate ain't nothing but a professional way of arguing.
But a debate, when you debate, you're trying to, you're trying to reach some type of consensus.
Yeah.
One way or the other. They're not trying to do that. They're just.
That's female shit to me, though. That's complete female shit to me. Like, I don't even like arguing with a woman. And the Aquarius in me, anybody that know me, I'm cutthroat in most arguments. So everybody want to be cutthroat.
Mentioning, speaking of Aquarius, what's this I hear you saying that the Aquarius men are the coldest men in the world? And what kind of talk is this, man?
Man, man, geniuses, man. Geniuses, man. We geniuses, and to a degree, it's just I learn something new about me every day because I got somebody that like to remind me about me every day. But I'm a loner. I'm a loner. I like good company, but I'm more analytical, and I like to talk about things that's knowledgeable. And a lot of the guys that thrive and that's successful in my genre and what I work in, it's a lot of thriving Aquarius. It's a lot of them. We don't really, it's a bunch of them.
Now, I got a question I must ask you before I let you go. Who's the best, LeBron or Michael Jordan? And can you explain why?
I can definitely have an explanation on why. Because it depends on LeBron, to me, is going to go down arguably as one of the coldest simply because we've never seen somebody that young be held to such a higher standard before even touching the court. And that's why his whole campaign on him becoming was being a witness. You remember when he first started at Cleveland, they had this campaign called Witness?
I remember when he was in college.
I've been watching him since seventh grade.
Not college, but high school.
I've been watching him since he was in seventh grade.
Yeah.
And he had a campaign called Witness. Being that we in the information era, we have gotten to see his entire walk of life, his entire body of work. We witnessed it. He the only player in NBA history where he wasn't allowed to fail at nothing. Even when he won, they considered that failure because he had the stigma of him having to be in the shadows of who we considered as the greatest. What make him one of the greatest, if not the greatest to me, I always say first, I'm a Mike guy first because of what Mike done for the game. And actual all around, what I love about LeBron is outside of the court, and being that we in the age of information, you wasn't able to see no flaws. He had to be flawless. And even when he was flawless, he was still held to a standard where that wasn't good enough. Even when he did his best work. If you look at Mike, right? Mike come from Dean Smith, which is one of the greatest college coaches ever. Mike come under Phil. Doug Collins, he come under of well-coached individuals that's champions. He come from a lineage of where he had a whole structure within his game. Bron didn't have none of that, even coming from a kid being a single, and nobody likes to talk about the fact that he come from a single mother when it wasn't no man around to even show him the game. He had to learn it from a woman.
But let's talk about them as. Let's talk about.
I'm gonna talk about the game.
The competitiveness.
That is a part of being competitive.
Which one of them was the greatest competitor?
We looking at it right now. You 41 years old. You in the playoffs at 41. You number 3 and 4 in the league right now at 41 years old. To me, what I like about old school cars more than new school cars are designed to fuck up. An old school car still hold its value even at it being old. With Bron being old and doing it longer, he took care of his body enough to be great for a long period of time. He been great 23 years. He's averaged 22, 23, 6, and 9 with his entire career. When he touched the floor, he averaged 28 a game. He done that for 23 years. 23, 24 years he done that. Jordan, within that space, from 84 to 98, Jordan come in the league. Nobody talk about them first 7 years. Nobody talk about what he had to battle. They say he battled plumbers. But if all he was battling was plumbers, what happened in them first 7 years? It took LeBron to do what he did in them first 7. He got there in 7 and 1. LeBron got there in 3 or 4 years and stayed going. So
what do you say to people who say that Jordan had greater competitors?
That's what's the argument now. People saying that Jordan went against more tougher competitors, and I gotta pretty much say
contact. It was a lot more.
It was
contact.
way much more contact. I never answered the first thing you asked. Who do I take that I think is the greatest? I'm Mike first for sure. Within that era is Mike, but right now it's Bron. Right now, I haven't seen nothing like that in my life.
If Bron was to retire today, I mean after this season, if Bron retired, then who you got? Is it still Mike or is it Bron?
If he retired today,
or is it contingent on him winning a championship this year?
I still think he can possibly win if he get into that driver's seat. And the way he's been playing this year, he hadn't played like that in almost 8 years. And he had 41 looking better than he looked in the past 6, 7 years. He looked better now. Do you know he got more dunks now than anybody, more fast break points than anybody? When we go to talking numbers, he more efficient than your youngest player. Man, he playing against a Cooper flag, bro, that wasn't even born. That wasn't even born yet when he came into the league. He playing with his son. It's nothing more profound than that. He passing his son the rock on a professional court. To me, that's a level of greatness I don't think we'll ever see again. He hooping with his kid and winning with his kid.
Well, greatness recognizes greatness. Man, I appreciate you coming on the show.
For sure,
man.
I appreciate you for having me, big dog.
Yeah, man. And finally, man, I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time. I know I never actually told you that, but I've just been kind of like watching and waiting, waiting for the right time. But I'm glad we finally was
That
able
mean
to
a
sit
lot
down.
to me, man, because you one of the guys that I always respected and I admired the most. Because the example of you being something that I seen growing up as an example. I seen what real street rappers look like. And I seen you elevate from that. And I've seen you do things that can't and ain't be done. When you took it from rap and you came to the media world and you're just as successful in the media world as you are and have been in rap, and that's something I aspire to be. Like if I can't be taught nothing, if I can't look and learn from something on a positive note, because I see you made that transition from growth from this into this, and yeah, that's what I always admire most. I didn't, and it wasn't much that I admired, man. And you one of the guys that I admire the most. That's why I talk about you in my music a lot. And I learned, that's because I learned from a lot of the things that I looked at my elders and the guys older than me that made the way before me. It's important that we have y'all. And that's what I want the youth to be able to experience now. Because if I stop tomorrow or if I leave, do I leave being recognized for something great? You know what I mean? I don't see a lot of that now. I think everybody want to be recognized for all of the wrong things, nothing positive. You know what I mean? So that's what I got out of growing up, looking and listening to actual. I would have never thought growing up that I'll be sitting in front of you with a microphone and we talking and you telling me how great I am. That mean the world to me. That's what I actually did this for, to be in this room and in these moments. So this mean everything to me.
Absolutely. Well, you did that, man.
Appreciate that, big brother.
Ladies and gentlemen, Killa Kyleon.